Let's get started. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. Our motto every week and every day, what we have to strive, each one teach one. That's our motto. We have that slide always, and always stay happy to share your knowledge. On that note, so today I'll be giving a session on territory management. So I'll just start with a brief story of probably the situation that happened a year or two ago where the COVID pandemic started, right? So initially, when there was this outbreak and people need to know what need to be done, or there was no cure or there was no vaccine available. Now, slowly they started developing the vaccine and they tried to say, okay, this is what is available, getting all those approvals. Once that is done, it came into the market and it was supplied to a region or a country state. Now it started expanding. Initially, it was provided to a country saying the availability is there. We need to go and get ourselves vaccinated. That was the initial start. Then it again funneled in such a way that the pandemic outbreak was increasing more and more. It became a region wise, and from state it became to a county level or a lane level. That's how it started expanding, right? So in terms of opportunities or in terms of our sales. So we had to go to that level to understand where this outbreak is more and how we can tackle it better in terms of providing that availability to those streams or those regions. So that was the task, and that was the ask in which we started expanding, and now we know that it's available everywhere and we know where to reach out to or where we can actually find it, where the outbreak was more, where it was more impacted. Now, on these lines, there was a study done, and that's how they tried to channelize this entire structure. Okay. On that note, is this for you? Yes, definitely, because this is one of the market strategy in which people try to penetrate into the market and understand the behavioral or the demographic patterns of a particular location. And that's the entire topic, what we are going to discuss today. Okay. Moving on to the use case, whatever I've explained, we'll just pick up a use case in which this is a problem statement, like a pharmaceutical distribution chain with a multi-tier sales management is not able to tackle in terms of having a track of the geographical distribution areas where it can see those possible opportunities. Because of documenting from various sources, from various sales reps, they're not able to understand and cater it to a single document or a single source or a repository. That is one challenge, and they're not able to understand the customers because it's gone to that level where you are not sure where the opportunity is more and where it is less, right? And in terms of once it starts increasing from area to zone, region, and breaking down to these small regions, small range, small areas, the reporting gets tough. And if it's a big management system where it's a multi-tile sales management, you have manager, then a sub manager, then you have the sales reps reporting to a particular region, all go up, bottom up to the main manager who has to report from a particular location. Now it gets tough when the entire channel starts increasing. So that's the use case. And first we try to see what the problem is, and that's what I've discussed. I've given certain points from that problem statement, how we try to generally solve. First, the approach is to understand the problem, break it down into what all areas we need to address, and then collate them and provide a solution. So the basic problem statement is you're not able to manage the regions or the zip codes. That is one area of concern. And if it's a big organization where you have various tiers, and that's how we have seen on the screen, right? So if it trickles down to different areas and zones, and then we have sales reps in each area, now providing all that information and maintaining them at different sources, collating them is a big pain, right? And that also it gives an issue in terms of closing opportunities because you're not sure where to go provide your sales or where you see that potential opportunity. So that is one area of concern. And finally is the reporting. With so many excels, how they maintain, and with the increasing group of regions, it's very tough to report to your higher level if you see the tire structure. So this is the main problem statement of how they wanted to achieve and try to provide this solution through territory management. So in territory management, now let's break down into each structure of how we try to approach to apply this territory management in order to provide a solution for that entire problem statement that is provided. Now, it's a unique solution where you can bridge gap between an account against the users and the territories that are available. So this is how you can cater them to an account, and you can set it up as to who can view it, who cannot view it. So the different areas which territory management provides and you need to have an awareness of is these are the main areas that are there. So I'll start with the territory. First, to understand the territory, you need to have a market segmentation in mind, how you can split your territory and how you get those opportunities. So there are generic four levels in which you try to understand the market segmentation. One is the geographic location, be it regional, national, international. Those are the areas which come under geographic aspect. Then the second one is demographic, where you need to understand the people, the age, who are residing in that area. That is one aspect. The third one is the psychographic, where you need to understand what activities they do and what they prefer, and those areas you need to understand, because that is very important to understand what they try to buy and what they do not try to buy, what they're used to, what they're not used to. So that is very important. And the other one is behavior, what they do on a daily basis, what is the activity they do on a daily basis. So psychographic and behavioral are in sync. So what they think and what they do. So these are like the four market segmentation areas which you need to understand in order to set up a territory. That's the first part. And the second one is the type. So in territory type, you need to understand where your business is more and try to create a priority for those businesses. Say in terms of sales, in a particular area, the diabetic section is more. So you try to concentrate on those by giving it a higher priority and creating a type for it. And another area, say in terms of the children are affected more in terms of the flu and all. So these are the ways in which we cater in terms of territory types to understand which is my priority and where I see more opportunities. Okay. And the third one is linked to the type, where you have to decide the priority, and based on this we try to segment them into the territory required. And the fourth one is the territory model. Now this is more like a hierarchy structure which we try to define. Say suppose if you have a state, and if we have certain locations within a state, say I'll take an example of California, and we have certain cities within it, say San Francisco, LA, etc., etc. So that's how you try to create a hierarchy or a model for it. And these both are in sync. The territory model and the hierarchy are in sync. You have to define both of them, and type and priority are in sync. So this all together is what you give as a unique solution, and Salesforce had the capability to cater them according to our need in terms of who can view which opportunity, who cannot view which opportunity, which account has to be aligned to which territory. That's how this entire solution as a whole gives a picture. Now, if you collect all this information, it is very easy to report, and we will be able to select a territory of our need in terms of reporting to our higher managers, or however the sales process happens.
If I can add to that, Prashant, so and to Srini and everybody else as well, it so to take a step back and say this is primarily a key function, or you say feature made available through Sales Cloud of Salesforce. I mean, this is given default, and whatever is being discussed here, the territories, the divisions, the hierarchies, and also the next few slides and session is all from a sales perspective, only from a sales perspective and the sales operations perspective. And this is a Sales Cloud feature. So that's why he's talking about opportunities, and everything from now, and whatever he's going to speak in next 30 minutes is also from that perspective. So you can try and use that that background mindset to connect to, and see if it is making sense to you. If not, yeah, obviously we can raise a question, but yeah, that will should help you understand this better. Yeah, go ahead, Prashant.
Yeah. So this is how the entire hierarchy structure looks like. I'll go into each detail once I go into the site. But as we discussed, this is our for a territory, and we have sub territories or the child territories based on the states. So this is the type, Naveen, which you have asked. So then we have the parent territory, the child, and that trickles down to at a county or the lowest level of a particular area where you can head to in terms of based on your business opportunity or how you want to segregate your sales reps to which area they have to be uh, they are part of. So sales reps generally are assigned to areas in which they understand the behavior patterns or they understand the region. So that always gives them a plus because they'll be able to understand what the issue is in that particular area. That's how even territory management helps in assigning sales reps to a particular location because that's really important to grow the business, to understand the nuances of that particular area of what is really happening. They'll be able to understand what is the ask, what is the need of that area. So that's how they try to build their business and provide the business on a whole. So on the screen, so this I've covered. Going to this part, probably seven. So any territory has three structures or three states in which you can create them, maintain them. First, if you create a default territory, it is called a planning state. And once you have set up the entire territory model, you can activate it. That's the second phase of it. And if that territory is no longer used in terms of maintaining that model, you can archive it. That is the third phase of the territory management system. So these are the three types or the states in which the territory operates within Salesforce. And the final one is the assignment rules. This is more like assigning a particular account to you can assign it to an opportunity, you can assign it to an account. So what happens is when you assign particular assignment rules, which we'll take a look later, but generally if you give an assignment rule to a particular territory, and if you run those rules, so the accounts are automatically mapped to your territories. So that's one thing which we'll look into, but that's what this does in terms of running the assignment rules. Okay, probably I'll minimize this. Let's go into the system to understand how this works. I'll show you how this initially starts. So I did all my setup into my practice playground, and one is where you initially see like how the settings start with. So I'll just show how that looks, and then probably we can go into details of how it's created. So this org does not have the setup yet. So we can see the initial button or the setup. So if you go to territory settings, initially you won't see any models or any types to be provided. So initially you got to enable it at the enterprise level. So on clicking this, you'll get all these options of the models as well as the types. Okay, you got to click this. This I've already done on another org. So I'll be going to that org. So here it's already activated. So if you see, we'll be able to see the models and the types to be created once you activate the settings. Okay, I'll first go into types because this is needs to be created in order to understand the model. Okay, so here probably I'll create a new territory type. I'll say so this is the priority, Naveen, the question which you had. You can define the priority and make sure everyone understands what is the priority, one being the highest, or that's how you try to operate these territory types. Okay. Whenever you want to look into, they go with these priorities to understand, okay, this is our basic first type, which we need to probably focus on, and then go on to the later priorities. That's the main motto of having this priority here. Okay, so one being the highest, probably giving it a high priority, I'll mark it as one. I'll save this. So once the type is saved, the next part is creating a hierarchy model for the types that you have created. Okay, so here I'll create a new territory model. I'll give it something like magenta because altokk I've already created. So that's how you create the model. And once probably today I've created, go to this. Yeah, so here, once the territory is created, we can create sub-territories to branch it to the main parent territory. If you see the state which I've discussed about, once you create a territory, it will be planning unless you activate it. That's when you actually can use this territory model within your org. Okay, so initially what everyone in terms of setup does is they'll try to see if they've covered all the areas in terms of types and they've aligned them according to the regions or in terms of the business need, in terms of hierarchy. That's when they look it as a holistic view and then only they'll go ahead and activate it, because there's a limit on the models that can be used and the models that can be created for each license level. So for an enterprise, at any point in time you can create two, and the model that can be active is only one at any point in time. So here I've created a territory. I've created a child territory. Now let's go into this. So once the territory is created, you can see the territory access levels in which you can provide access to another user to another opportunity. That's how this works. Okay. So the account level users in this territory can view accounts assigned to this territory. Apart from this, no other person within the group can see it. That's how they structure it, and that's how we provide the access to different users that are added to the territory. So that can be done for the accounts, that can be done for the opportunities, that can be done at the case level as well. Any questions here?
Is this restricted only to these standard objects, or even for custom objects? Because
No,
I
only
see
these,
these
only
access
these.
levels, only these
Yes,
three.
only these. Yes, because this major focus is to create a restriction on the opportunities created by one sales rep. How is the pattern happening if they want to give access to another sales rep in the same region or a different region? They can do that with this, but it's only limited to these levels, be it accounts, opportunities, or cases, which are dependent on those opportunities and how the next steps happen in the sales process. So why I said territory type is important is, once you create a territory, it always, the sub child territory, it always asks us to map to a territory type. It's a mandate. That's the reason we first have to create uh, an account, or rather a territory type, and then we create the model, so that we have to align them to the territory types created. That's when the entire priority and all come into picture. That's why territory type is always important. So the next part is, once this is done, you need to assign rules to it. Just give me a second. Yeah. Once you click on the territory, you have these sections which give us access to which users can be managed for that territory, or which accounts can be managed for that territory. And this is where the assignment rules are. So what assignment rules do is, when you run these assignment rules, it maps your territories to your accounts automatically. So you just have to create rules on certain requirements, like how you want. Do you want to map all your accounts to a territory based on your zip code, or uh, based on shipping, or based on state? So there are different combinations in which you can try to assign these rules to a territory, and that's how the accounts get mapped to that territory. Okay, probably for a new one, I'll show how that is created. So here, so users is one thing which you can assign. It is pretty much self-explanatory. The important part is to understand the assignment rules. So here probably I'll assign an account based on the state or province. I say equal to, I think this is there. If you see here, apply it to all child territories. These are the types of access that we can provide. If so, each territory can have a maximum of 15 assignment rules, not beyond that. So once you create all these assignment rules, if you go to the territory and view the rules, all this will be shown up in the main parent territory. Okay, once this is done, let's go to the territory model and we'll try to activate this particular territory model. So you can run the assignment rules only after you activate the territory model. Before that, you cannot run it. This cannot be activated because we already have an existing territory model which is active. Probably I'll archive it. I see some pings coming in. Any issues?
We don't have an option to deactivate it.
No, we have to just archive it. Once it's archived, you cannot use it anymore. It is only for viewing in terms to understand how that model was or what are the main proceedings or the hierarchies that happen in that model. Once it's archived, you cannot use it again.
Prashant, is there an option to clone it after archiving it? Even in
I
future, if you want to use the same territory model again.
I need to check that, but let's check it right away. I doubt if that is it because
Clone option isn't there.
I don't think there's a clone for it. You got to just view it and create your own model again.
Oh,
Okay, so here, okay. So clicking on this, you can archive it. So this will take time. Probably I'll show you the account which has Texas. Edge communications. Let's see if there's any territory added to it. So I don't see any territory added. So once I run the assignment rules, this account should have that territory assigned to this. I'll try to activate this. Yeah, you see that is active now. Click on this. Now run assignment rules. Any questions here? Meanwhile, this runs. We can just check if that's getting added to this. Hopefully, it gets added. That's how these work. Let's just refresh and check. Yeah, you see here, altokk has been added as a territory to this account. So that's how the assignment rules work. And that's how you can easily categorize which accounts are mapped to which territory. That's how you look into it. Now, this helps us in reporting to get that entire hierarchy structure and report in such a way how it's being operating at the hierarchy level. Any questions here, guys?
I had a general inquiry in terms of businesses. Which are the targeted businesses to use this kind of model?
Any
Is it
sales process involves this, right? If your
any
zip codes or
organization?
your regions or you know, take US, which is a big landscape, and the sales process change, your asks change. It's very tough to maintain all these in Excels or each person reporting. So you can see any business opportunity where you can use territory types.
Okay.
be it multi-tier architecture or if your business expansion is more. That's how you can, because this helps in understanding which particular region is doing better or where the opportunity see as a growth. So sales reps can be diverted to that particular region and see to balance even the sales reps in terms of their motivational factor and all, right? They tend to work more where the business is more. If there are more people but the business is less, the opportunities are less, right? So they try to understand through this regions and how the accounts are working in terms of the opportunities. That's how they try to cater or align them to different regions based on this
Okay.
model.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I think that's the end of it. Any questions? So what we try to achieve through the problem statement is what if asked. So they had a problem with the tire structure. They had a problem with the access to maintain it. So what A3 does is it tries to map them according to regions, map them according to their business, map them according to accounts. That's what we try to achieve in territory management. Yeah, I think pretty much that's what I would like to conclude with.
So
Other
yeah, if
questions?
you
Yeah.
noticed, all of you, the use case, the solution, the approach was, to be very honest, if you go back to that slide, thinking of is this for me? It's more from a consultant or an analyst perspective that you would need to have this knowledge and knowledge and understanding of how to set this up or how to approach or understanding. Okay, this is the depth at which Salesforce gives us the control to assign those incoming business opportunities to right set of people. All of you would have heard about or worked upon lead assignment rules where you say, okay, lead comes, I assign, or maybe case assignment, or even if you've not worked on it, you might have heard of it. But here, if you notice, it's it's more logic around that. So, as a developer, if somebody asks me territory management, it's less, because by then the strategic thinking of how we want to have the territory management setup should have been or could have been done by an analyst or a consultant. Okay, so whoever, or when I say analyst or consultant developer, I don't mean to say your job role on paper. What I mean to say is, even if you are a technical person, but you do have that either the intention, or you quite often get into a conversation where you think, yeah, you could be talking to a customer and you might have to think on those lines, then what we discussed today is very important. Okay, somebody who's more of from a code basis and the intent is also towards that, the learning is towards that, less. So for those people, this is more of knowing, oh, this is the extent that can go, and it's good to know. Nice, thank you. But anybody who's more from analyst consultant perspective, or even thinking of, even if you're a developer but are on the path of saying, okay, I might be potentially talking to a customer and I might have to know up and think or two, this is a definite useful session. And I've heard and seen too many new things for me to say I know territory management. So if I would want to learn that, I'll have to go set that up and then say, okay, I know territory management. What I can say now is I know there is territory management which exists and which can do a lot of things on demographic, on territory regions. I can have hierarchies. I've heard that, but if for me to say I know territory management, that is not going to be enough, at least for me. And I'm assuming that would be the same for anybody else who wants to add territory management to their repository of learning or profile. So yeah, nothing else from my side to it. Thanks, Prashant.
Okay, then I'm starting.
Yeah. But Sneha, you said you're leaving. How do we do it? Like, how will it?
I have 10 minutes. We'll finish.
Okay.
Multi-select.
Multi-select. What are the areas
Strategy.
considered for setting up territories?
Problem is, అలవాటు పోయింది కదా కహూట్ నేను ఆడే అలవాటు మధ్యలో ఐఎమ్ స్విచ్చింగ్ ఆఫ్ మై మైండ్ డూయింగ్ సంథింగ్ ఎల్స్ టాకింగ్ అరౌండ్ దేర్ దెన్ ఐ కమ్ టు కహూట్ and realize, oh, I was supposed to listen to the entire session with full
So we talked about market segmentation, right? How you want to set up a territory. There are 4 areas generally any salesperson goes to. One is demographic, one is geography, one is behavioral, and one is psychographic. So these 4 are very important to set up a trade, to understand the business and the potential opportunity scope.
I hope
I think this was
everybody.
straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on. Yeah. Chandra, that's the trick now. Okay, now
Nice.
So I think this we figured out just recently.
Okay, next question.
What
What
accesses can be
accesses can
controlled
be
using
controlled
territory
using
settings?
territory settings?
Multi-territory కొట్టేసా. మల్టీ ఆప్షన్ కొట్ట అనుకోని I chose. Okay.
Next question.
Next tough అయిపోతే ఇంకా ఇక్కడ అయిపోయింది.
Multi-select now. What are the different types of reports in sales?
Reports. Multi-select.
Yes, it's multi-select.
I try to mix all of them because there are not too many in territory. But yeah.
Territory this is not related to territory, right? This is
General.
That's what I'm saying. There are not too many questions on territory. So
I got it right.
నా సెషన్ ఎవరి లేదు వాళ్ళకి తెలీదు.
I'm hoping to come back. Yeah, see, Srini is out. Session will Srini.
మీరు ఇంకా ఫాస్ట్ గా పెట్టాలి.
Sriram climbed, Pala climbed. నేను ఇంకా ఫాస్ట్ పెట్టాలా? మొబైల్ స్లో ఉంది అయితే.
Next question. This is not multi-select. How many territory models can be created at an enterprise level?
నేను వినలేదు ఇది, పెట్టేసాను గెస్. It's better to be wrong than late.
Two now.
Wrong.
నేను వింటలేదు.
So Prashant, did you actually mention during the setup, right?
Line and podium అంట.
సెటప్ దగ్గర కనిపిదు, మన లైసెన్సింగ్ లోకి వెళ్ళి చూడాలి.
No, when did you mention it? I'm just wondering.
I mentioned it on the fly when I was discussing territory setup itself.
Setup, right? Yeah, the setup level, right? That's what I'm saying. On the setup level, was it was discussed?
Okay, next question. How many assignment roles can be created per territory?
My favorite color petala, color pattern is not being followed here. I feel like I'm doing that. Intermediate level.
ఇద్దరే కరెక్ట్ పెట్టు.
Only 2 people got it right. Naveen got it right. Who else got it right?
Me,
Rupesh. Okay. So Naveen, that's why he joined from 2 places. He was very active, listening,
Multi-select.
reading everything.
Person account record type is a combination of fields from.
ఈ సబ్మిట్ కొట్టడం మర్చిపోతున్నాం, ఇలా ట్యాప్ చేసి వదిలేస్తే సరిపోతుంది. I got it right, but obviously too late. Everybody got it right almost. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, Naveen. Okay, next question.
సుష్మా మన ఇద్దరికి ఇంకా ఛాన్స్ ఉంది.
How many territory models can be active at a time?
అవునా?
ప్రశాంత్ ఆన్సర్ చెప్తారా?
4.
Oh my God.
4 అయితే
నేను నవీన్ వెళ్ళి ఉంటాను.
చూయిచ్చా, ఇది లైవ్ డెమోలో చూయిచ్చా. If one was active, it didn't allow another one to be active.
ఇంకా నాకు చాలా
ఇది బై మిస్టేక్ వెళ్ళిపోయింది నాది.
నేను కాన్స్టెంట్ గా అక్కడే ఉన్నాను.
ఇంకా అందుకోవడం అయిపోయింది.
Naveen,
but there is a potential. Sriram has never won this. Sriram, I'm vouching for you.
నెక్స్ట్ క్వశ్చన్ నాకు గుర్తులే, ఏం పెట్టాను కూడా గుర్తులేదు.
next question.
మల్టీ సెలెక్ట్ ఇచ్చానా?
What are the different types of?
ఇది డిసైడర్. ఇది
ఏంటి ఇది? ఏమో నేను పెట్టేసా, ఏదో నాకు వచ్చింది.
All you have to ensure is you're not choosing a wrong one. Which I did.
ఫనల్
But answer wrong అనిపిస్తుంది. కీబోర్డ్ కాదు, ఫనల్ కదా.
లేదు.
పివట్ లేదు. అవును, నేను కరెక్ట్ ఇచ్చా కదా. పివట్ ఇస్ రాంగ్.
ఒక్క నిమిషం. The correct answer is donut.
ఫనల్ కరెక్ట్, పివట్ ఇస్ రాంగ్.
రాంగ్ వెళ్ళింది.
తప్పంపేనా?
నేను
పంపించారా?
తప్ప అందరికి తప్పు అవుతుంది, చూద్దాం.
అందరికీ తప్పంటే మరి మాకు ఇక్కడ జీవితాలు మారిపోయాయి కదా.
Yes.
అలాగే
కరెక్ట్ అయిపోయింది. అవును మాడిపోయినాయి, నేను ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళిపోయాను.
నెక్స్ట్ క్వశ్చన్ ఒకటి అయిపోయిందా చెక్ చేద్దాం.
Yeah.
టేక్ స్క్రీన్ షాట్.
ఎందుకంటే ఫస్ట్
How many
చూసేసా
records we can display? నేనేనా?
లేదు లేదు నేనే తప్పు
ఇది సుష్మా ఫస్ట్
ఐ షఫుల్ ఆప్షన్స్ అది ఇది చేంజ్ చేయలేదు.
నాకు ఇది తెలుసు, నేను చాలా ఫేస్ చేసేది.
అందరికీ తెలుసు 9 పెట్టాము. So I think we can say this was not a
ప్రశాంత్, ఆ
this is not
answer వల్ల
differentiating.
నేను
9 was not differentiating. Only 8th question change partitions.
నవీన్ థర్డ్ ఉన్నారు.
ఎయిత్ కాదు.
శ్రీరామ్ ఇంకేంటి శ్రీరామ్ విన్నర్ అక్కడ.
శ్రీరామ్